That's actually one of the few instruments I can play. Oh, so we're going to be talking about power as abundant blessings today. This is the chapter on power in Barefoot on Holy Ground. And she says this: we live in an endless supply of energy that moves around, through, and between every molecule in the universe. It will fill any size container we bring to it, from tiny thimbles to cups to leaking buckets or pipelines. It's being open and a vessel to receive. It's being that chalice that is open at the top to receive, comes down and then meets the earth and then pours forth through embodiment all that is received to bless the earth, which then goes back in cycle to refill your chalice once again. I've always loved the image of the Grail, the chalice, and that's recognizing the divine within each and every one of us and trusting that divine part of us to always be there for us, in us, and through us. Eric Butterworth says God is a source of a mighty stream of substance, and you are a tributary of that stream, a channel of that expression. Blessing the substance increases its flow. If I'm not conscious of all of the resources I have in my present circumstance, why would I think the universe would give me responsibility for more? It's being willing and being open to receive and to give. Last Sunday, I talked about the difference between the Sea of Galilee that receives the flow of water and then expresses the flow of water on back out into the desert, whereas the Dead Sea can only receive. It cannot give. There is nothing that flows from it. And so it's a wonderful analogy of how important it is for us to be conscious, not just of our resources, but are we open to receive them, and are we open to give them as well? In Barefoot on Holy Ground, she says something that I love. To bless is to empower. It's always about starting right where you are and what you're focused on. And it could be the darkest night, but find that little spark of light and give that your attention and watch it grow. Because we're all starting from where we are. We might want to be over there, but we have to start where we are and recognize we are blessed right where we are, and we have resources and blessings that we sometimes don't take the time to notice. So to bless is to empower. I'm not using the term blessing as a synonym for approval. Rather, I mean it as a decree. I love that. A decree that calls forth the good inherent in people and in situations. Blessing bestows grace upon the things they name. No matter who or what is troubling us, we always have the power to bless it, to give it a blessing. There's a wonderful book about prosperity that's probably my favorite book besides Eric Butterworth's, and it's Lynn Twist's book, The Soul of Money. And we've actually done that as a series a number of years back. And she talks about shifting from old views to new consciousness. The toxic myths of scarcity are the things that hold us back, that shut us down to the flow, because we're in a place of fear and we contract. And then there are 3 truths of sufficiency that says, oh, there's enough. And that opens us back up. Here are the 3 toxic myths of scarcity. See which one is the one that you find yourself most caught up with, and recognize it's time to hospice that idea back from whence it came. First, there is not enough. Number 2, more is better. And number 3, that's just the way it is. That's probably the most stagnant line of all. That's just the way it is. Because you're not open to recognizing the blessings and allowing your soul to grow in understanding and perception. So there is not enough, more is better, and that's just the way it is. Those are the toxic myths of scarcity. So now the 3 truths of sufficiency. This is your opportunity to midwife into birth and presence a new world consciousness for yourself of what prosperity is. Those 3 are: money is like water, it carries energy and it's ever flowing. Number 2, what you appreciate appreciates. What you give your attention to grows. And number 3, collaboration creates prosperity. Recognizing that we're doing all of this together. Every Sunday when we take up the love offering, it's collaboration. It's each of us contributing a part of a greater whole that helps us touch the world. In The Soul of Money, she says, no matter how much or how little money you have flowing in your life, when you direct that flow with soulful purpose, you feel wealthy. You feel vibrant and alive when you use your money in a way that represents you. When you let money move to the things that you care about, your life lights up. That's what money is really for. It's just an expression of energy and flow. In Barefoot on Holy Ground, she has one section where she says, when it comes to money, are you mindful? Are you in a frame of just mine? Mindful or just mine? And she said, we're invited to recognize, as Lynn Twist says, that it's about supporting the things that are your heart's desire, supporting the things that you truly love. It's a contribution, not just a donation. And it comes in all different forms, as treasure, time, talent, and touch. All of those are ways that we have flow come in and we can be channels to have flow go out. This morning, I turned on the Sunday morning show on CBS. I frequently do that. And Robin Wall Kimmerer was on this morning. She is the amazing woman who is a botanist and citizen of the Potawatomi Native tradition, and she wrote the best-selling book, Braiding Sweetgrass, that's been on the bestseller list for years now. And she was talking about shifting our consciousness from a consumption-driven to more of a sense of community. And she says when you're braiding the sweetgrass, there are 21 strands that are braided together. 7 for the generations before, 7 for the sacred truths you are living now, and 7 for the generations yet to come. It reminds us that we are a flow of humanity as well, co-creating the world. She says there are 3 pieces of this braiding of the 7 strands. 1 is for body, which is love. The other 7 is mind, which is peace, the peace that passes all understanding, and spirit, which is harmony, where we recognize our oneness. She has a new book out that was the one they were really discussing this morning, which is called The Service Berry. And the subtitle is Abundance and Reciprocity in the Natural World. She says we think about what we want to get without thinking about what do we want to give too often. We have a consumption-driven economy rather than a gift-driven economy. Because when you see things as gifts, they're blessings. And she said it's time to start giving back rather than taking. And she said it's not about the money itself. That's just an energy form. It's about gratitude, respect, and reciprocity. Gratitude for the blessing, respect for the blessing, and reciprocity for the blessing. Reciprocity, that flow. I'd invite you to watch that. Go online and see if you can find it. She's wonderful. And so she is saying how important it is for us to recognize that supporting that which is our heart's desire and our soul calling allows us to consciously choose how we're going to be part of the flow. One of the things that so many people get uncomfortable with, I'm going to talk about now. You ready? Hold on to your seats. I'm going to talk about tithing. For so many people, that brings back really negative memories and a sense not of an opportunity, but rather a command. When I was in the Methodist Church, one of my best friends had a terrible car accident. She had said that she would tithe to the big Methodist church we were going to. And because of the car accident, she had all kinds of expenses. She was off work for months. And she actually got a letter in the mail and a phone call. You're behind on your tithe. When can we expect it? That shut me down. I did a lot of soul work and discovered New Thought and Unity. Then I realized how they were twisting and misusing that. The tithe begins when Abraham goes to Jerusalem, which was called Salem at the time, and Melchizedek is the prince king. And later they say Jesus is of the order of Melchizedek, the prince king. And so Abraham comes and he offers 10% to the king, the priest, the high priest of Jerusalem, to bless him as they move through. And so that's where the 10th came from. And so it goes all the way back to the early scriptures in the Old Testament, in the Hebrew Bible. And it was meant to be a recognition of the blessings, of we've come this far. You've welcomed us to Jerusalem, this place of peace. We would like to respond with our gift. It's what she's talking about in the service fairy, seeing life and energies as gifts flowing back and forth. 10% is what the traditional one is. But to me, a tithe is when you're willing to do 10% or whatever spirit guides you to do. It might be 5%, it might be 20%. But it is not a fixed amount. It is a consciousness of shared blessings and wanting to receive, and having received, wanting equally to pour it back into the world and to share it. There's a wonderful saying that many of us have heard much of our lives. Life turns on a dime. Life turns on a dime. A dime is 10% of a dollar. Tithing at $1 doesn't feel like very much, does it? I can put a dime in. But then when it's $100 or $1,000 or $10,000, we have this mindset that, oh, well, I'm having to give so much more. Well, it's because you've been open and you've received more. You're invited then to share those blessings so they continue to grow and to bless one and all. Life does turn on a dime. It turns on a recognition that instead of going, oh my gosh, 10%, that seems like so much, rather than, oh my gosh, I get to keep 90%? That's pretty impressive. And then you can take that 90%, and that's what helps you live your life. One of the things I heard when I first got to Unity is when you're writing your checks for your electric bill and your water bill and your car payment, instead of going, oh my gosh, look at all this money going out. I am grateful that I have it to give. I'm grateful that I have my car. I'm grateful that I have lights on at night. It's a shift in consciousness and awareness into recognizing and truly becoming a partner with the divine. It's a spiritual practice, not that you have to do, but that you get to do, for the blessing not only of the world, but of your own soul. And so many people do the tithing practice, and having come from traditions where it was perhaps more of a you have to, I want to invite you to a concept of you get to. And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to invite all of you to join me, that for the next 30 days, just start with that, for the next 30 days, tithe with whatever comes into you, to something that you believe in with all of your heart. If it's unity, wonderful. If it's something else, wonderful. Do it, not because we want to increase our bottom line, although that would be a great blessing. Do it because you consciously want to take your life energy at every single level and contribute it and bless it and send it forward. So do it for 30 days, and then if at the end of 30 days it feels good, do it for another 30 days. Just take it in small pieces. If that feels like too big a leap for you to start with, do what you can that feels right. But make sure whatever it is, it's coming not from a place of constriction, but a place of openness. And so I'm going to join in and do this. And I love the fact that Spirit always gives me the lab to go with my lessons. In the last 6 months, I've been kind of tucking money away from my trip that's coming up, where I'm going to Scotland, to Iona, to meditate and rest and write. And to my surprise, we keep getting hit with these giant, like $1,000 bills for things. Plumbing, washer and dryer repair, new tires, new dishwasher, our dishwasher crashed. And then, I think partially because of all the potholes in Port Townsend, last week I had to have the A-frame on my car repaired. And so I'm working on this talk, and I'm going, I always have to do what I ask you to do. I don't think it's fair for me to say, this is such spiritual, holy work, have fun. I have to do it. And my logical brain was going, are you kidding me? You've watched your account do this. And I was like, yeah, but those, I have to shift and go, I was blessed with the ability to respond when the need occurred. And I trust that I will be provided for on this trip and that all will be well. And so rather than getting caught up in the there's not enough, I had to sign my name to a piece of paper that said, I believe with all my heart in what I am speaking about today to all of you. So know that I'm calling you to do this with me as we walk through this together. And doing it with me, it brings me to what I think is going to be the best part of the whole message, which is we've got two people who are going to briefly speak about how tithing and generosity have changed their lives. And so you get to hear it from two other people as well as me. So I'd like to invite Mary Dean and David Goldsmith to come up. And I'm going to put this on the altar as a blessing for all of us.
So this is the problem of talking with Reverend Pam after a board meeting, by the way. This is the penance that we have to pay. You want to go first, or you want to go first?
I don't want to do it at all.
You don't want to do it at all. Isn't this great?
That was the board meeting when I said, wouldn't this be a great idea?
Okay.
Later was, how do I get out of this? I texted Pam and said, can't hear.
You need the,
I'm trying not to do that microphone.
oh, it's
You know
okay. You'll
what?
do fine. David will help you.
Whoever's up here, they won't get the whole thing.
You don't like to even stand
Okay.
up here and talk all these people.
Absolutely.
And you don't like
Well,
to...
here we go.
So bear with me.
If you need one of us on each
just-
side,
Oh, no, not again. Now your nightmares are again. No, and nightmares. I think I had COVID. That was part of it.
Okay, here we go.
no COVID.
Oh, gosh.
I'll hold the microphone.
No.
Don't look at them. Just close your eyes.
Okay. Okay. I've forgotten everything.
Nobody's
I
gonna
talked to
throw
my
you.
granddaughter for 1 hour last night. It just spilled out and out and out. Everything I wanted to say about this. And I could feel the blender starting in the stomach, you know. But then I realized it's more like a lottery machine where all these thoughts are there and I want the right ones to come out to say what tithing has meant to me. And it's not about dollars. And you wouldn't want to exchange your Social Security check with mine. Believe me, you'd keep it. It's not that much. But Pam talks about how we, and I believe it, how when we were in Spirit World and decided to come to Earth School, we sort of picked the right people to incubate with and figure out what we were going to do with this life. And I picked an interesting bunch of folks that the daily menu is alcoholism and gambling and a lot of depression. And a middle daughter who said, I'll answer the calls when those bill payers call. You know, I'll tell them whatever you want just to stave them off. But I grew up with that mentality, that scarcity, there's not enough. That little girl came with me today. She's been sitting on your lap, hugging Carl, because it wasn't a chair over there. The other one was Spirit saying, I'm with you, we're gonna get through this. And my granddaughter gave me a 5-point essay. She finished her first year of college, and I got the five-step thing to bring it to conclusion and say what I wanted to say. But I started out with that. There's not enough. There's not enough. And even though I had a wonderful marriage and raising kids, and it was a prosperous time, when I got back to the point of being alone, there was so much income. And this was my inspiration. He never promoted it. He just said the wonderful things that happen when you give 10%. And I thought, well, that's, you know, I have, you know, $8 left in the account. I can't give away even 80 cents of that. That fear that it's going to go away and there's going to be a problem. But I had no idea. I just, you know, you come to Unity long enough, you come and you come and you come, and pretty soon you become.
Yeah.
You hear it in Ron's music. You hear it in Bruce. You hear it in Pam and David, and you see this light. You know, these lights that are the light. They are God. They are. Claudia said to me, I write my check out every week or month. I can't remember, but I give this much to God. This is my thank you, God, for this amazing, incredible, abundant universe that conspires for our good. That is an endless flow of good that never ceases. And I can live a shortcut life. I can say, okay, well, you know, I'll put in 2 of my $8, you know. But I went for it. I became it, and I said, I have to do it. I have to do it. And Diane, this is what you waited for. Diane said, I want to hear what that good was. Now, it's not a lot of extra money that I reinvest in it. It blows up. But I find myself every morning and every night crawling into bed with spiritual books, I'm going nuts trying to make things for the prayer chaplaincy to be better tools for us as prayer chaplains and to help you as you come for prayer. It's this explosion of creative, spiritual activity that I'm going on and on. He said, the Spirit said it would, we'd get through this. And I'm going to allow one scientific thing because that's how I think. I think in earth sciences. I love things when Pam says we're stardust. I have to go find out why. That it turns out we're in, nuclear fusions, from the first stars, and we really are. We are all those materials. We're here, and we are the universe, and it is us. Why live little lives? Why live a cheapskate life if there's not enough? It's so abundant. I don't know, maybe a few good lottery balls came out, but okay. This is the one, circulation. We need it for our blood. We'd be nothing without the circulation of our blood. We would be nothing without the circulation of the atmosphere that brings us rain and cooler climates, and it's everywhere in science. We are science. We are math, we are electricity, we are everything. Perfect science. So why are we not circulation? And to not give us like stepping on the water, stepping on the hose that flows. Pam talked about the stagnation. If there's no flow, it's a stagnant life. For me, I speak for me. I don't promote anybody, come out and tithe, do what you want. But I'm saying on the other side of scarcity, if you're there, if you have a little wee bit of it, is pure heaven and endless. No fear of that. It's gone. It's just positively gone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll either do nothing or overdo it. Oh, did I just talk in the microphone?
That was great. Well, maybe I shouldn't say anything, although I will.
No, you need to.
So, early on in stepping into New Thought, now I grew up I didn't grow up as a Lutheran. I went to a Lutheran church. And so they had strict tithing things, except my folks never went. So I had to tithe for them, which was whatever came out of my allowance got to be tithed for. Anyway, fast forward into real life. And I went to this guy named Reverend Michael Bolgar. And he came and gave us a prosperity class, first one I'd taken. And he drew a picture of a bathtub. And he said, this bathtub, we filled it with water. And he says, if you kept going in that bathtub every day, pretty soon you got a bunch of dirty water. Well, yeah, that makes sense, right? He says, if you just take out 10% of the water, you still have a lot of water to take a bath with. But ultimately, you will cleanse the water. Ultimately, you will cleanse the water. And I thought about that. And so, and he challenged us, a 30-day challenge and all this kind of stuff. So I go, okay, let's just try it. And it wasn't just money. It wasn't just the treasure part, although that was part of it. But it was my time and my energy. Where did I put my energy? And then do I remember my source? And so in this class, Teresa and I decided that every time we write a check, we put TYG in the little line there. What is it for? Thank you, God. A reminder that all of those checks were people out there that supported me. The electric company, they took me out on credit. I'm burning this stuff up before I ever have to pay for it. On and on and on and on. And so all of this is pay it forward kind of stuff that they're doing for me so I can have the life that I have. And I go like, and I never thought about the universe in that concept. That it's everything that we do is all connected and it all flows. I mean, it's just how it's all designed. And the more I stepped into that, the more it changed my life. Now, we had at that time, or before that, I should say, our church, when I stepped into Unity, there was like 12 people. And they'd just gone through a catharsis, and so it was real small. And fast forward a little bit, and it started growing. We didn't have a minister. We had these traveling ministers, or if they didn't show up, then somebody would give a talk. And our budget was like about $8,000 for the whole year. I mean, this is some time ago, it's 20 years ago or so. But it wasn't a lot, right? And we had an administrative assistant, Ann Lang, and Ann was this metaphysical nut. Boy, she was into this thing, right? And she was also our bookkeeper, the one to schedule whoever's going to show up, pay the bills, and all this kind of stuff. She called me up one day in a panic, end of the month. David, we're $127.50 short. We're $127.50 short. We don't have any money. We got $127. I said, Ann, what are you talking about? She said, we're short. And I said, where is your prosperity consciousness? It's going to show up. You know, you just hold the faith. Yeah, we got to do what we got to do, but hold the faith that it's going to show up. It's not here. I mean, we're going to $27. And Michael's coming on Sunday. And I said, Ann, relax, take a breath, center yourself, and just affirm with me that the $127.50 is going to show up. And so she calmed down. I got off the phone. And I'm thinking, well, go ahead, Goldsmith, show this one. So I just let that out. And I figured, well, at the end of the day, I'd come up with $127.50 and make things good. 2 days later, I get this phone call from Ann. Now, this is on Friday, so this was Wednesday, now Friday, Sunday's church. David, I just opened up the mail. Cool. What'd you get? I got a check from Unity of Spokane. They tithed to us $127.50. I said to Ann, isn't that how that's supposed to work? She says, yeah, but it really happened. Well, that's how it goes, right? Now, I didn't know that God was going to do that. And in fact, Unity, years later, David Landweber came, and he was here a couple weeks ago. He shows up. He was on the board at the time. They had tithed to Unity of Bremerton, they thought. And it got redirected to Unity of Port Townsend. And they never knew where that check went until we were talking about it. And he found that out. So when we sing that song about blessings already on their way. So for my life, when I decided to just take the challenge, it fundamentally changed how I operated in the world. And it's been a blessing ever since. And I never had a big scarcity mentality because I didn't come from that thing, but I was always careful. And I never really thought about intentionally. I gave my offering when the basket went by, but I wasn't intentional about it. And when I became intentional about it, that changed things, and it redirected my life. And then later on, as I went through my kind of dark night of the soul experience, the universe was there in such abundance that I could never give it back. So, anyway.
So now I invite you to stand, and together we're going to say my favorite Eric Butterworth affirmation 3 times, and then we're going to unite our voices in singing and getting the flow going through music. And the saying is, God is my instant, constant, and abundant source of supply. Together, God is my instant, constant, and abundant source of supply. God is my instant, constant, and abundant source of supply. One more time. God is my instant, constant, and abundant source of supply. And so it is. And now the abundance blessing.